Well, good day, everyone, and welcome to the Beaver Football edition of Extra Point. In the studio, once again, head Beaver football coach Zach McCrae. Zach, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I got to say, though, in our football world, it was kind of good news and bad news on you and I. Good news is you won, the Cats won, and for me, the Cowboys won. The bad news, the Grizz did not look very good at all and lost one, and your Browns, they got thumped a little bit.
Yeah, football is really hard. I haven't turned a Browns game off in a while, and out of frustration, I moved on with my day very quickly in the Browns game. So we'll just stay faithful. The Browns have not put together a fantastic season in a lot of years, and so we're continuously learning perseverance.
Well, and the Cowboys used that perseverance. They got behind, went ahead, got behind, went ahead, got behind again, and found a way to win in overtime. So they must have been watching one of our shows where you talked about perseverance. But let's go back and talk Beaver football. You knew that the competition was not going to be as strong based on the fact that East Helena is coming in and building a program. But you guys also said you had a lot of respect for the team because you don't want to ever take anybody for granted. But you had a great effort. You won 42-0, 6-2 overall, 6-game winning streak after losing those first two, 5-2 in the league. Let's go back and let's talk about senior day, last home game, a Beaver victory.
Yeah, it was senior night. We got to honor 11 seniors, guys that are so special to me. I don't take for granted how hard it is to play football. The word that comes to mind is just uncommon. We live in a weird society. Quitting has become easier for young men and women, and for these seniors to gut it out for 4 years, to buy in and go all in on the crazy things that I'm preaching, to get into the weight room and believe in something bigger than yourselves. It's just such a special night that we got to honor them. And as we look ahead, we don't have a great chance of playing at Vigilante Stadium anymore, so it was really their last time suiting up for a home game as a Dillon Beaver. And, unfortunately, some of those guys don't get to go on and play college football, and so you're looking at some people's last time they're going to put pads on at home, and I don't take that for granted. I'm so proud of all of our seniors. We got to do a cool thing for Jack Gibson, one of our captains that tore his ACL earlier in the year, and we set him out there. We set him to start on offense and defense, and before the snap, he got to experience. He got the lineup, and then we blew it dead. And man, some of that stuff just isn't fair. You work so hard for something, and it's taken from you like that, and we don't take that stuff for granted. Certainly love the heck out of Jack. I wish he was on the field with us every night, but he continues to lead in other ways. And honoring those other 10 guys, it's just a really cool night. And then when the game hits, you're running out of opportunities to play under the lights. I mean, you hear all these professionals, you hear all these big-time college guys, and they talk about how cool it was to play Friday night, that there's nothing quite like it. And we're running out of Friday nights here pretty quickly. And, man, it's just fun to watch these guys suit up and play football. I don't want them. I want them to live every moment. Don't look ahead. Don't look behind. Be in the moment. Part of that is just doing your job while you're out there, and part of it's having a lot of fun playing the game of football. They put an awful lot of effort into putting on the pads and putting on the helmet and going and playing in front of their Dillon Beaver faithful, and just really cool watching them have fun playing the game of football.
Well, and it was one of those interesting outings too. You put on an offensive showcase. Key, once again, crazy with the touchdown passes, and he was not selfish.
Right.
He passed it around, and then you turned around and pitched a shutout.
Yeah.
So you were near perfect on both sides of the ball. You'll have to refresh me on special teams. Special teams, did it make it into that really special game?
I think that that special teams always is important in what we're doing. Special teams can show up in a variety of different ways. Sometimes when you don't notice it, it's really good. Sometimes when you notice it, it is good, and there are times when you notice it and it is not good. But we've been proud of our guys. We've been able to play some young guys as we've gone through, and with the product of the game that of everything that was going on, we got to play a lot of young guys for the majority of one half and a little bit in the second quarter, and they're held to the same expectations as everybody in the program. They're expected to do their job at a high level, and it really looked like they're having fun. I think the thing that comes to mind is just a total team victory. It took everybody, and everybody was in doing their part, and I think when you can do that, it's pretty special.
Well, and that's and you carry over to you take that JV team or Froshmore's. I'm calling them JVs, but Froshmore's. They went over to East Helena.
Yeah.
And one of those games that everybody likes to not only play in, but also watch, a double overtime.
Yeah, for sure. We got to watch it the next day because East Helena ended up filming it, and so we were in parent-teacher conferences, us varsity coaches, and I got a report around 6 o'clock that it wasn't going well. It was 14-0, and I had another parent come in, and so you just I turned my brain off to it for a second, and next thing you know, I got a couple texts on my phone, and I looked at it, and it said from Coach Ferguson that they got a win in double overtime. So things happened in a flurry. We watched it. They put in, they didn't put it in, but they had kind of a razzle-dazzle field goal that they ended up scoring, which is a 2-point conversion. I told Coach Ferguson we're going to need his wisdom on that fake field goal. But, boy, give credit to those guys. Going up there on Monday, Coach Ferguson, Coach Paffhausen, and Coach Ferris, they've done such a tremendous job with those young guys. And I think any time that you can win a game tight and you really feel like you worked hard for it, there's nothing more rewarding for me as a coach when I get to watch the film and we got our guys celebrating like crazy on their field and celebrating with our guys. That's what you do it for. Football's a lot of fun, and you can't take those moments for granted. I'm sure they won't forget it for a long, long time.
Well, you mentioned Mick and Jason again.
Yeah.
Couple of former Dillon Beavers.
Yep.
Both had pretty good college careers.
Yeah.
I think Mick was hurt an awful lot in his tech career, but Jason, two-time Frontier Conference Defensive Player of the Year, first-team All-American. To those young kids, and I'm sure those young kids that are now in high school, when they were in middle school and stuff, they were at Vigilante Field watching Mick and Jason and everybody else as a Beaver, and now they're being coached by him. It's kind of like the circle is complete.
Yeah, heck yeah. We've talked about it as a staff, and we try to relay it to the players. We went down and watched the 7th and 8th graders play a couple nights ago, and I remember being in 7th and 8th grade coming to Dillon Beaver football games, and those guys in gold helmets and blue jerseys were heroes. They were gods to us down there, and we'd try to go play football in the end zone until we got kicked out of there, and you just wait, and you know these names. You're going to Dillon Beaver shooting camp, and you're seeing these high school athletes, and they look so big, and they're so fast, and they're so physical. You just hope one day that you can be part of that. And for guys that got to put on blue and gold to guys that are implants that have come and given a lot to Dillon Beaver Nation, it's just really special. And Coach Ferg and Pat or Coach Ferris and Paff, man, those guys had great careers, and it's cool because none of it matters. It's all about coaching young people. They have credibility, but they don't ever have to use it because they demand the most of themselves, and they demand the most of their young athletes as they come in. And the future of the Dillon Beavers is bright, and they are a big reason that's the case.
Well, that mentality that Terry Thomas brought in 20-some years ago when he took over the reins of Dillon Beaver football has gone through the generations, has gone through the different coaches and stuff.
Heck yeah.
And that type of consistency spells success, and that's probably why the Beaver football program has been so successful.
Heck yeah, and we got coaches up with us right now. You know, Gary Ferris was coaching for the Frosh for a long time, and boy, Rex Whitworth just did a fantastic job getting those young guys motivated and ready to go and playing the right way. And our varsity guys now are benefiting from Coach Witt and Coach Ferris and just their knowledge of the game and the passion they bring. When we have 9 guys on staff, and each one of them demands a lot of themselves, and they demand a lot of their players. And I don't know how it couldn't bleed onto their playing and everything that they do in their lives. Okay, well, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and talk about your end of regular season opponent, and we'll do it right after this.
Join Dream Motors and Dillon Video on Saturday, October 30th from 4 to 7 p.m. for Trunk or Treat.
Okay, Zach, well, one regular season game left. And, you know, you mentioned in the first part of your interview that the game last Friday was possibly the last home game of Vigilante. I was just going to ask you what all this means. How does this figure out? Is there any possible way that the Beavers can host a first-round game?
There's no way that we can host a first-round game. We've got a couple. We're headed on the road, and going to put on a lot of miles if we're going to make a deep run in this thing. And it's funny. It all starts at Ronan Thursday night. We've had this game in our eyes for this entire week. We're fired up to go play football again, and we're considering this the first round of the playoffs. It's the start of our road journey, where we're going to come in our conference. What it looks like is we're going to have to win to get a home game, and we figured there's no better time to start that mentality than now. We're headed up to play the Ronan Chiefs, and just like we talk about every week, they all have Dillon roots. And Matt Detweiler played at Western. I played with him. Mitch Wassam, got to coach him and got to be around him a lot. He's just a fantastic young man. And Brian Labby was center when I was playing quarterback at Western, and George Sherwood, another guy, played receiver at Western, and they're all up there coaching. And so, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a family reunion. They got their guys playing hard up there, and they just came off a big win against Corvallis, and they're going to be fired up to play the Beavers, and I just can't wait to get up there and get after them. Well, it's like their 1-6 record means absolutely nothing. For sure, yeah, and we're on a week-to-week basis now. We're not sure if we don't take care of business, we're not sure we're guaranteed the next week, and so we really think it's a playoff mentality. We're excited to be hopping on a bus with 35 good dudes and just go take it one day, one play, one snap at a time. Well, your team has gradually gotten better each week. You know, you had talked about in one of our earlier programs about the fact that each week you want to keep getting better in this area or this area or this area. You keep fine-tuning that, and each week you've done that. In particular, I mean, this was the crescendo, the win against East Helena, how well you played across the board, offense, defense, and special teams, and now you get that one more opportunity to do that final bit of regular season fine-tuning. Yeah. And, it might be the coach speak in me, but when we look at East Helena, we still got miles to go. There's still a lot of things in there that we're trying to fix. We're trying to shore up. We really think we're chipping away at our potential. We got a ways to go, but it's not a linear path. You have games where you have setbacks, you have plays where you have setbacks, and so we're just on that process one day at a time at trying to get better. We tell the players. Fortunately, I've been able to coach in some state championship games, and it's no different if you were to win a state championship game. If you looked at the film, there's going to be a lot of things that are really cool, but there's going to be a lot of things that sucked as well. And so you would just go right back to the process of trying to fix those errors and just try to get better. Talk a lot about being intrinsically motivated versus chasing a trophy, because that's the stuff that lasts. And if we really are trying to get better each and every week, those trophies, they don't mean anything. Fortunate to have held up a couple and been part of some pretty cool teams that have carried us to some. And it's just about the experience, and it's about becoming a young man. It is our ultimate goal, and we don't shy away from that. And we tell them all the time that is our goal. But this is about the Dillon Beavers, and this is about the 2021 Dillon Beavers. And so we value these guys. There's not a lot of people in this world that would accept the coaching that we give. They accept it with an open heart. I know they don't love everything that we say, but they know that we care about them, and they just want to get better. And so when we go into film sessions, whether it's Hamilton where we get beat by 40, or whether it's East Helena where we beat them by 40, we just got a bunch of hungry young men that just want to get better. And I wish we could play 10 more weeks. Well,
any prognostication on who you might play in week 1 of the playoffs?
Yeah, if we take care of business here, it's kind of a cluster over there in the East. What we're being told is we are on the road to either Miles City, Glendive, or Sydney. So it's from anywhere from 6 to 8 hours, hence the road warrior mentality.
Well, yeah, if you want to get as far east in Montana, you just picked 3 prime locations to be east in Montana.
No kidding. We'll see who we play, and we'll get it cleared through the school. We'll make sure we leave awful early in the week so we can start get into our destination.
Well, Zach, once again, we want to thank you for coming in and visiting with us. Good luck in Ronan, and on an NFL note, good luck with with you and the Browns.
Thank you.
Want to remind everybody the game is tonight at 7:00. It's not Friday night; it's Thursday night at 7:00 in Ronan. So Beaver Nation, there's going to be a lot of people going up I-15 and then hanging a left on I-80. And taking up space in Ronan for another Beaver victory. So thanks, Zach. And we'll see you next week, and we can maybe talk more about who the Beavs will be facing in round 1 of the Class A playoffs.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you, Zach. And we'll see you next time on Extra Point.